All right, hi everybody. My name is John Nerrill. I want to welcome you to my weekly Facebook Live. Today is show number 82, and the title of this episode is called Your Age is an Asset. So today I'm talking about things like age discrimination and what your value is in the workplace and how best to position yourself and create a strategy to make yourself more marketable, even if you may be a little bit more senior than some of your competition that's out there. So typically each week I come into this space and host this Facebook Live. Sometimes I have guests. So if you or somebody you know would be interested in being a guest on my show, you can certainly message me here or email me at john@johnnerrill.com. Would love to talk with you about how you show up energetically and professionally in the workplace to create your next advancement opportunity. So as we just simply welcome everybody in here, we got a little bit of snow here in Virginia, just enough to kind of coat the grass and make it look a little bit pretty and things like that. It didn't mess up morning commutes, I think, too much, though we had a couple of schools do like a 2-hour delay. So it was kind of nice to at least get the first snow, but it was also 60 degrees here yesterday. So things were just a little bit crazy. But if you are joining, welcome. If you are here, if you could just simply type in the chat that you can hear me, because last week we had a little bit of a sound issue. So if you can do that, that would be great. And I'll just give you a couple little pieces of information as I normally do. So these episodes are housed here on my Facebook page, as well as on my website at johnnerrill.com and my YouTube channel. But I've got a free resource available for you, which is an e-workbook that is called 3 Steps to Creating Your Next Advancement Opportunity Without Feeling Overwhelmed. It's a multi-paged workbook that is designed to help you listen, lean in, and step forward to whatever is next in your career. So you'll go there, you'll input your name and your email address to get the e-workbook, and it also enrolls you into my email community, where I email everyone each week with a particular leadership and career topic. So as we get started today and we talk about our ages, first of all, let's give a lot of thanks for we get to the age where we get to, right? But in terms of our marketability and how we navigate this age conversation in the workplace, I want to begin by simply saying that age discrimination is illegal, right? So you cannot be, it is illegal for a company or an organization to discriminate you on the basis of age as not being a qualified candidate. So as you look on the web, there are a lot of interesting resources that are out there. And I came across an article by Kimberly Palmer from AARP. I also turned 50 this year, so they actually provide some really great stuff, which is fascinating. But one of the things that she mentions in her article is that while age discrimination is illegal at any stage of employment, including during hiring, promotions, raises, and layoffs, it is also currently legal for employers and prospective employers to ask about your age as well as your graduation date. So that's a data point. And there's more information than ever that is out there on the web to find that. So you never, never, never want to lie about your age or anything that is on your resume, because that is an automatic disqualification. And in some situations, it can come with some pretty severe penalties for doing so. So we always want to be authentic and honest when it comes to our age. And while there is a push for more stronger laws that will prevent against age discrimination, it is also important to note, based on this article, that most people believe age discrimination hits when they turn 50. So if you think about the career ladder, you come out of college, you're in your 20s, you're very anxious to get a job, you come in, you're at the bottom of the ladder, so to speak. You're not getting paid perhaps a whole lot, but you're gaining some valuable experience. As you hone your craft and you get really good at what you do, you then position yourself in your 30s to really double down on that. You want to emphasize what your skill sets are and your expertise and why that is valuable in the workplace. So by the time you get to your 40s, which are really your wealth building years, you are positioning yourself accordingly to get more advancement, to get more compensation, to really be able to make that career move and set yourself up for your 50s until retirement. But what we have seen is that we see companies who are laying people off, they are downsizing, they are outsourcing, they are hiring younger and perhaps less experienced talent because it's more affordable. And that can put some of us at a disadvantage. So for the purposes of for the purpose of today's conversation, what I want to do is just very simply share with you some tips on how to make your age an asset. So if you work with me one-on-one, you've been following me for a while, we talk a lot about the mindset or the energy that we bring into situations. If you believe that your age is a detriment to your application, it is. If you believe that no one is going to hire you because you believe you're too old, they won't. When we show up energetically and professionally to make the impact we want, we come from a place of value and service. And so if there is anything in your thinking that is holding you back from showing up authentically, let's take a hard look at that, because our thoughts drive our feelings, which drive our actions, which drive our results. So if the mindset isn't where you need it to be, we need to take a look at that. And for some of the people whom I work with, they have gone through some pretty difficult things in their career journey. They've either been laid off, or they've been terminated, or they have found themselves in a position where they're not really happy in their job. And so they need to figure out what exactly is next, or how best to position themselves to get back into the workforce. All of these things. But if we don't believe that we are valuable, we're not. Sit with that for a moment. If we don't believe that we are a valuable professional, that we show up day in and day out with the skills and the expertise and the talents that are going to be best utilized and served in an organization because we can help them, what value are we bringing? So in order to make our age an asset, here are a few things to consider. So first, you need to be able to network. So networking is more important than ever. Who do you know? Who can you have a conversation with? How can they help you? But more importantly, how can you help them? So in a previous episode, I talked about doing a network audit, which is where you pull all of your contacts, be it on LinkedIn, your social media, your email list, and you go through and you see who are those people who are a valuable connection to you that you could reach out to and have a conversation with about a potential opportunity or a connection or a lead, all coming from a place of service. How can you help them? If you walked up to somebody and you said to them, I want you to give me $100,000, they're not going to do it. They don't know you. They don't trust you enough to go ahead and do that. But when we start talking about how valuable we are and what we're going to be able to do for them for that salary, whether it's $100K or it's $250K or it's $50K, when we start sharing what our value is and how we can help them, it's a much different conversation because we're engaging somebody for them to decide what we have is something they need or not. So never underestimate the power of your network. And there are always untapped resources and connections in your network that you just have to go and ask. So go ahead and do that. The second thing is make your resume and your LinkedIn profile ageless. When I am talking with somebody or I'm working with a new client, it's one of the first things I look for, especially if they're age 25 or older. Once you get your degree, you've got your degree. There is no need to have your graduation date on your resume. And there's no need to have your age on your resume or LinkedIn profile either. More often than not, people will get an idea about where you fall in terms of the age range. But if you graduated from college like I did in 1991, there's no need to put that on the resume. I want them to get to know me first and foremost. So that's a very, very simple tip. Leverage your talents and expertise. I've talked about this over and over and over again, but as I work with people and help them create their stories so they can tell it in a way that creates greater interest and greater engagement so they can go ahead and create their next advancement opportunity, you need to be able to talk competently and confidently about what you bring to the workplace and why somebody needs it. I remember going for an interview and telling my who was going to end up being my boss, when she said to me, "Why do I hire you?" I said, "You hire me because I know how to build relationships. I know how to build teams. I know how to repair dysfunctional teams, and I'm great with clients. That's why you hire me. If I'm not really sharp or strong on the technical skills that I need for this job, you'll train me and I'll learn it. But you can't teach me how to be a good person that knows how to build teams and lead teams and build better business relationships. I got the job." So we need to be able to know exactly what our value is and why that is valuable to a new organization. Build relationships during your interviews. So exactly what I was talking about. If you are a mid-career to senior level professional, you have interviewed more than a few times in your life. It is at this point that I always say to people, you go into that interview, it is an opportunity for you to build a relationship, and it is an opportunity for you to see if they fit for you as a new employer, as much as they need to look at you and see if you fit as a new employee. So we never want to give up complete control in an interview where the hiring manager or the interviewer is dominating 100% of that conversation. We want it to be an interaction. It doesn't necessarily have to be 50-50, but it needs to be a give and take. It needs to be an opportunity to show how you handle a conversation, how you build a business relationship, and how you get to showcase your talents. Because when you show up energetically and professionally to make the impact you want, the P, remember, stands for protecting and promoting your brand. It is an opportunity for you to promote your brand about why you need to be in that organization and why you're so valuable. The next one is about reassuring younger managers. I remember working a job where my supervisor, for the first time in my life, was younger than me. Oh. and it was a little hard, let me tell you. Like, it was a little difficult for me to kind of realize that I was in this place and I was reporting to somebody who was younger than me. And we didn't necessarily get off to the best start, but we ended up having a really good relationship. And we had a really good relationship because we talked about some of those issues. We talked about some of the reservations. We talked about what I needed from him and what he needed from me. And we were able to set some ground rules about what that looked like. So when we need to reassure a younger manager, it's not that we don't want this to be an adversarial relationship. We want to assure them that we're here to work with them, that we value them on equal footing and contributors, in order for us to get the job done. So think about what that might mean for you the next time you're either going into an interview or you're looking at your current business relationship and maybe you are reporting to somebody younger. How do you get to move that relationship forward and make it better, right? As you're thinking about your next advancement opportunity, focus on companies who value and hire people in your age bracket, right? So if you know that a company is looking for more senior level employees, or they're looking for someone with your particular background and skill set, you want to be able to go and market yourself in that direction because you provide a valuable service. Or you want to look at what the job is that you want to be able to do if you're responding to a posting and see why that's such a great fit for you. One of the things that we need to be mindful of is that if we have been working somewhere and we are a repercussion of a downsizing or a layoff, or we were terminated, we may not go back at the same compensation level where we started or where we left off. It doesn't mean that that won't happen or that you can't get there. But the truth of the matter is we need to know what we're worth so we can market ourselves accordingly. You need to know what your bottom line is so you can meet your financial obligations. So we never can overlook the importance of what compensation and benefits looks like. But I will tell you that in the coaching relationships that I have with my clients, we have to have that conversation. We have to have that conversation because we want to know what they're worth, where they need to market themselves, and what their bottom line offer is, so they're not settling for something less and starting a new job feeling like they're not happy or excited to begin there. So something else to think about. I very rarely do this and talk about it in terms of don'ts, but I'm going to share with you some don'ts when it comes to your age being an asset. All right. So the first thing here is don't draw attention to your age. Can you imagine if I walked into an interview and I looked at the person and went, "Hi, my name is John Nerrill and I'm 50 and I help professionals and blah, blah, blah." I wouldn't lead with that. Wouldn't call that out, right? So don't draw the attention to your age in a way that could be perceived as a deficit. Draw attention to your age as an asset based on your experience, where you've worked, what you've done, what you can bring to a new company. As a leader, as an executive, you have all of this wealth and talent from all the experiences that you've had. That has to count for something. That has to count for something in terms of how you lead and how you show up and how you move an organization forward. So don't necessarily draw attention to your age as a detriment, but if you're going to talk about it, use it in a way that really highlights why it's important and the value you bring. Here's the next one. Don't let your technical skills falter. One of the most frustrating things for a new employer, a new organization, could be if they look at your skill sets and they figure that they need to ramp you up on terms of their systems and operations. You need to have a proficient to advanced proficient knowledge in something as simple as Microsoft Office and how to use the internet and how to conduct a search. If you are going to a job where you're going to be doing a lot of spreadsheet manipulation, your Excel skills need to be exemplary. They need to be really, really good. Look, I don't do pivot tables at all in my job. And when I was working somewhere, I never did pivot tables enough. In fact, pivot tables just frustrated the heck out of me, but people who did pivot tables all the time were really, really good at it. If that's a skill, let's say, that you need to be really good at, then there are plenty of opportunities online, be it either on YouTube. Coursera has some great online courses that you can take for either no or relatively low cost, but you can keep yourself current in order to keep you marketable based on your tech skills. I remember working with a client last year who was in the IT field, and as he was transitioning into a new job, and we were doing all of the coaching work in terms of getting him to that new position, he was spending a tremendous amount of time building his skill set and getting more familiar with software programs and proprietary programs that were things that he knew he needed to know in order to keep himself marketable. And it was one of those things that definitely helped him land a new job. So keep that in mind. The next thing is, don't directly answer illegal questions. As someone who is interviewing, you need to know what are the illegal questions an employer should never ask. Now, as someone who's interviewed hundreds of people throughout my career, I got very familiar in terms of what I could ask and what I couldn't. But sometimes when I would pull somebody in to interview with me, another colleague, let's say, they may not be as well versed in the law, and so they may end up asking an illegal question. I had it happen one time, and I immediately stopped the interview, and I told the applicant that that person did not have to answer that question. Sometimes, I'm not saying this is right by any means, but sometimes we get thrown that kind of curveball. So you never have to answer an illegal question, but if you choose to indirectly navigate it into something else, that is your choice. But you never have to answer an illegal question in an interview. And in fact, if you even wanted to say very simply, look, I don't believe that's an illegal question. You can ask me. That would be of your own choosing. Oftentimes people don't want to be that confrontational, so they will find a way to work around it. But know the questions that you can be asked and you should never be asked. All right. The next one is, don't negate your experience. You bring a lot to the table. You are an accomplished and seasoned and well-versed professional. You have experience. Showcase it, broadcast it, promote it, honor it, but talk about it from a place about why it is needed and why it is useful. If we go into an interview and we are ashamed about something, that's going to come out for us. It's not the way we want to show up in an interview. So own where you're at as you show up energetically and professionally, and honor those experiences that you have. Don't miss an opportunity. If you have an opportunity to go interview for a job and you are sitting there and you're saying to yourself, I'm not really sure it's the right fit, the pay's too low, I don't think I'm qualified, you are basically talking yourself out of going to the interview. I'm going to invite you and challenge you to always say yes to an opportunity. If you have an opportunity to meet somebody for coffee and you wake up in the morning and you're not feeling 100% because you're just not liking yourself that much that day, or maybe you had a rough week and you just got knocked down a couple times, you still say yes and go, because it's an opportunity to connect and it's an opportunity to see how you can help somebody, and vice versa. Don't miss an opportunity. Don't overlook anything. You've submitted 3 applications in one day and you stumble upon another one and you find out that the deadline for that application is at midnight and it is 10 o'clock and you're tired and you're not really sure if it's worth it. You stay up and you submit the application. You go ahead and do it. Don't miss an opportunity in this career transition. Don't miss it. When they say never leave a stone unturned, you never know where that next advancement opportunity may come from or whom you're going to connect with. And how that person may be able to help you, or you can help them. Don't miss an opportunity. And lastly, I talk so much about how we show up. As professionals, how we show up energetically and professionally matter. And while showing up puts us in a really vulnerable state, it also allows us to be truly authentic. And so when I talk about how we show up, it is about setting ground rules, having intentional conversations, owning where you're at, welcoming new opportunities, using your genius, and protecting and promoting your brand. When you do those 6 things, when you implement those 6 strategies, and you walk into a networking conversation, an interview, a job opportunity, a conversation with a supervisor at work where they're trying to figure out where you need to land or where you're going to go. When we show up energetically and professionally to make the impact we know we can, great things happen. I see it. I see it all the time. I see it all the time in my work with my clients, the people whom I'm talking to that are out there doing those things. I've also seen it in my own career. And so what I'm going to leave you with today is this. Think about how you show up. Think about how you are showing up as you are exploring whatever beliefs or perceptions or facts that you have about your age. Our age is an asset. There's another episode I did several months ago, which I called Your Message, Our Message, Your Message, Your Message. And it's just basically about owning where we're at. Never be ashamed or embarrassed about your age. Your age provides so much value and experience and knowledge and expertise. Somebody wants it. Somebody is looking for exactly what it is that you have to offer. You just got to find each other. And that's why we never miss an opportunity. And that's why we always make a commitment to how we show up. So with that in mind, I want to thank you. If you have any questions about this, or you want to talk or make some comments about it, then please go ahead and email me at john@johnnerrell.com. If you're watching this on YouTube, I hope you give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, and share it with somebody. Share it with somebody whom you think would really benefit from this. And I hope the audio worked today. So I don't have to go back and reshoot it like I did last week. But even if I did, it's all good. It's all fine. So I wish you a great rest of the day. We are 2 weeks away from Christmas, 3 weeks away from 2020. So whether you are celebrating whatever holiday you choose to, happy holidays. I will see you next week at 1 o'clock with my last episode for the year. And just going to share a couple things about what I got planned for 2020. So until then, I wish you a great rest of the day, and let's make a commitment to how we choose to show up. Talk to you later. Thanks. Bye.